What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about how to play as the victims in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. This is definitely the underdog of the game. There's no doubt about it. They talked about how the killers are more powerful. As people get better with the killers, it is going to be increasingly harder with the survivors or with the victims to actually survive and actually get out alive. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some general things you can kind of do with anyone, but we are going to start with kind of your loadout and getting a team together, because that is extremely important. I just don't want to get too specific for any individual character in this video. So the first thing you want to do is obviously plan out who is going to play as who. This game, really, you want to pick a person that you feel comfortable with, and you want to just start to experiment with the perks. Now, I'm not going to get into what are the best or what are the worst perks, but you can build your character to emphasize their strengths. You can make up for their weaknesses if you want to. The way I've seen it generally work is the increasing the strength. If they're good at something, they can become amazing at something. But here's one thing, no matter what happens, that you need to do, you need to have a Connie. I think the lock-picking ability is honestly it's not overpowered, I think, in general, but compared to everybody else, you are absolutely going to need that one. You can maybe also argue Leland because of the shoulder charge or shoulder hits. That one is very good, and you can actually knock down multiple family members, more than one at a time, when you do it. So I'd say those two are almost necessary. Connie, for sure, she is a necessary person. If you go into a match and one of the four of you aren't her, you're playing from behind when you really don't need to do that at all. Now, what you need to do when you first start, couple general tips and tricks: just mash. And this is a certified 100% of the time, this will work all the time. You want to mash the button to get out. Why this is the case is because the family is actually in their cutscene. It's when they're doing their, I believe it's actually when Leatherface is chopping up the other victim that you didn't bring in. That's what's happening when you're being tied up. So mash it, make as much noise as possible. It won't alert Grandpa, and it won't alert Leatherface to your position. At least if you do it right away. If you're going to wait like 30 seconds and then do it, then you're kind of screwed. But you immediately want to get down. Now, what I have found to work the best is kind of a divide and conquer like approach. You want to spread out. You each probably want to get the toolkit, right, which could pick the locks, and you're going to need that maybe for the breaker, for the fuse. You're going to need it to get out of the basement. I generally think that each of you having at least one, even though Connie is the best one, right? She can speed run it, and she can get out of the basement in probably 20, 25, 30 seconds, right? You run up to a toolbox, you get the pick, you go up to a door, you're out. That can happen so quickly, but is that necessarily the best way of doing it? No, I actually don't think it is, especially with the family getting better and better. What I would suggest is spreading around and getting more than one door open. Now, communication, I do think, is extremely necessary with the victims. I talked about in my family tips and tricks video. I don't actually think you need it. You probably should, but if you are hell-bent on not talking, and trust me, I get it, I'm antisocial too. If you don't want to talk, I think you can get away with it with the family, because there's just less things to do. The objective is more like staring you straight in the face. You can get away with it. With the victims, I think you need to have a game plan. I think you need to communicate, and we'll talk about that as this video goes on, but something along the lines of, okay, I'm going to go for the fuse. Well, you go for the water valve. Well, I'm by this generator. I'm going to try to turn it off. You just can't communicate those things if you're not talking, right? So I really believe talking is essential, and it starts at the beginning, because you can spread around and say, hey, I found a toolkit. I'm going to go to this door. You can name the place in the map, even though half the people don't know how to get there, and trust me, I'm one of them as well. But the first thing to do is to get more than one door unlocked, and I think that's because as the family gets better, you don't all want to be standing at the same door. In fact, what I would do is I'd lockpick a couple doors, but you leave them closed. Much like at the end of Dead by Daylight, when you open the door, but you don't actually open it all the way, you get it prepped, right? Same thing here. Unlock the door, but don't open it. Wait until you have at least 2, if not even 3 or 4 doors open, and then you open them at the same time. You're going to alert Grandpa. He's going to see, most likely he's going to see you, because you kind of want to rush out of the basement. You don't want to stand there in the stairs. I think that's more important if you go out only only one door, right? If there's one door and all four of you exit it, you just want to run. You don't want to all stand there because you're all in one spot. If you're in like 2 or 3 different doors, I guess you can stand still, but grandpa seeing you for a couple seconds, the family seeing you, is not that big of a deal. You want to get out of the basement and you want to separate. Now, to be honest with you, that's about as specific as this tips and tricks video is going to get, because the rest of it is totally situational. It depends on the map, and it depends on what the killers are kind of giving you. Sometimes they'll camp. Sometimes they'll camp the water valve. Sometimes they'll camp the two, whether it's the generator and the car battery, right? So the two kind of opposite ends of each map. Look, again, as they get better, they're going to have routines. They're going to have patrols, and it's going to be very hard to shut off a car battery when they come to check it every few minutes. That's where spreading out, and I think having more than one exit strategy. I think especially as the family gets better, saying to yourself, okay, I'm just going to go for the car battery. That's it. That's the only thing I'm going to do. There is no other escape. I just don't think that's going to work starting like yesterday or today. I think people are getting too good. You need to have more than one idea of how to get out. What I would suggest is to pick at least 2, okay? So you probably go for one of the doors, whether it's the generator door or the car battery door, and then you focus on one of either the valve or the fuse box. Again, all of this stuff takes work. That's why I suggest everybody has a lockpick so that you can, if anybody's kind of stuck in that situation and saying, well, I found the breaker box, but I can't open it. I need to wait for somebody else to come. If you all have it, then you're good, right? You can just kind of get to work. Even though some can do it faster than others, it really doesn't matter. Beyond that, the one big thing I guess I can say from playing it myself and from when I spectate other people playing it, patience. This game requires it. There's actually times where it looks like the family is coming after you. They'll come really close to you, and they will not see you. It's hard. I mean, we've talked about it from the family's point of view. If you're a really good victim, if you're very good at just kind of standing still and not budging, a lot of times the family will not see you. There's obviously an urge to get moving. There's an urge to, if somebody's getting close to you, to just start darting away and see what you can do. But honestly, sometimes just standing still is the way to go. Jumping down the wells, don't be afraid to do that. That's a huge, that's in the game for a reason. If you get caught, if that's your only means to kind of reset, right? Just everybody resets, jump down it, go to the basement, and kind of restart. And the final thing is you're going to have to get good at juking, but not in the way of Dead by Daylight, right? Not walking around, say, a car 15 times to try to like slow the... You can. There actually are some areas in this game where me as a killer, I have been looped. The victims have looped me multiple times, but I don't think that works forever, and there's really not that many of them in the game. The biggest thing you got to get good at is quick turns and then hide, like 1 and 1. So oftentimes what I'll do, and maybe this is giving away my secrets to family people watching this video, but sometimes slithering through like an opening, say in the side of a building, you slither through, you turn left, and you immediately crouch, right? Like really, really quickly, one quick turn, because ultimately you kind of have a 50-50 shot, right? If you go out and exit, you go left and you crouch. Well, either the killer is going to also go left, or they're going to go right, or I guess straight, depending on the situation, right? You may have a 50-50 shot. They're going to go the opposite way. You might have a 66% shot, right? If they go straight or they go right and say you went left, now you got a 66% shot. They won't go to you. So that's, I think, what you really got to get good with in this game. Quick little deeks, quick little kind of crouching and staying put. But that communication, figuring out where you're going to go and having a backup plan, having 2 people do things kind of simultaneously, right? Again, you don't all want to be, say, at the car battery. Maybe somebody's going for the fuse. Maybe they can distract a family member while you go for the car battery, and then you kind of hook up at the end. These kind of like diverging tactics, right? Again, like a splitting up to conquer them. That's, I think, what you're going to need to do as the family gets better and better and better. But the number one key, you need to talk. I mean, I get it. I get communication. I get antisocial and all that stuff. But if you're not talking as the victims, you're just at a huge disadvantage. You don't know what the other people are doing. Maybe they have an escape and you don't even know that, or maybe they're in trouble. They need help. There's so many things that can happen in this game that you need to be talking for. If you're not talking, you basically lost, I would say, that person, especially as the family continues to get better. So let me know any tips or tricks that you guys have for other people that I didn't say. Leave them in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next video.